Recall that on the last video we saw how to make the cat walk across the screen, and we got this giant script here. As a result, if we go ahead and run that, we can see that it works. But if we take a closer look at this and we actually analyze what the script is actually doing, well, it's simply just repeating these three blocks here over and over again. So it's just moving 10 steps, switching costume, and waiting 0.05 seconds. So it turns out that there's a much easier way of doing it than copying the same statement and pasting it over and over again. And it's with using a concept called loops. So loops are control structures that will execute a certain block of code for a certain number of times. If we go to our control menu, you can notice that we have a couple of these blocks. We have the forever block, we have a repeat block, we have our forever if block, and we have our repeat until block. Now all of these, they're loops. They're what is called loops. Why? Because anything that goes inside them gets repeated until a certain condition here is met. So for instance, on the repeat until, we can go ahead and we can use operators here, and we can just paste them in here in the little hexagon here, and you can see that anything that's inside of this block will be repeated until a certain thing is equal to another. Now for you to actually use the repeat until loops, you must have the knowledge of variables. So we're not going to look on repeat until loops right now. We also have the forever if blocks. Now the forever if blocks or loops, they will do something until if they'll do something if the statement that's inside the hexagon is true. So if I say forever if 5 is equal to 4, I want to move the cat 10 steps, we can execute this, and as you can see, nothing happens. See, it's highlighted, but the cat is not actually moving, and that's because 5 is not equal to 2. Now if we go and we stop our script, we put the wait in here, and we say forever if 5 is equal to 5, and we run it, we can see that the cat moves 10 steps and waits, and it keeps going. So that's the forever if block. We're not going to be using this right now. The forever block is very similar to the forever if block, but the difference is that the forever block will just do whatever is inside of it forever. So if we say we want to move and wait forever, we can double click on it and the cat will just move. The two statements that are inside the block will just be executed until you stop the script. So these are all pretty useful, but the one that we're actually going to be using is the repeat block. Now the repeat block is possibly the simplest loop that we have, that you'll just do whatever is inside of it whatever number of times you specify. So right here we have it specified to 10 times, so if we double click, it'll take 10 steps. If we double click again, it'll take 10 steps. Now if we set this to, let's say, 50, it'll take a total of 50 steps. So let's reset its position, double click on the loop, and it takes 50 steps. As you can see, goes a little out of the screen, so let's fix that. We can say about 40 steps should be good. And yeah, that's about good. So we can just go ahead and snap that right on the bottom of our initial setting positions. Click click the green flag and the cat just walks across the screen with one nice block and not a big piece of junk. So that's pretty much loops. The next video I'll go over a little tutorial to help illustrate loops a little bit better. Thanks.